Welcome to SPP's tutorial on how to assemble our no-sew base rails. In this tutorial we're going to show you how to assemble it with a fully wrapped base rail or with a fully exposed base rail. Okay, for this exercise we're going to start off doing the fully wrapped base rail. Now what we have here is a little piece of fabric that we've cut. It's a nice textured fabric, but it has a 3-pass block-out lining on the back, so it's quite thick. Now with this one, doesn't matter because this is a small piece of fabric. If you make a blind that's 16 feet wide or 4 meters wide, the same principles will apply as to what we're doing to this small piece of fabric with the base rail. Okay, so starting with a fully wrapped, what we need to do is to work from the bottom of our blind, come up from the base 89 millimeters. Now in the old school that works out to 3.5 inches. Now something worth noting here is we're doing a roller blind here. Now the application for a Roman blind is identical in every way to what I'm showing you now, but there is a slight difference in the measurements to gain the actual drop of the Roman that you're looking for. So look out for that part in the section where we manufacture the Roman shades. Now as you can see, we've actually drawn the line on there, which is quite definitive. So we turn the fabric over, find our line and crease right on that line. So you can see there's a nice definitive crease line there. Okay, with the fabric face up, we now place our profile inside. Now because we're doing our fully wrapped base rail, we've got the fabric facing up, so too should we have the flat side of the base rail, not the one with the groove, but the flat side facing up. Put on your applicator, and this can be a little bit tricky when you first try because when they're new they're a little bit tight, but they do loosen up after a while. Fold that over. Slide your applicator on. Now what your applicator does in this instance is the same for the profile, is it allows you to take your base rail straight from the saw, so direct saw cut, sharp edges, no problem, slide it straight onto the fabric, no filing. Okay, so now we have that, that's how our blind looks. And what we're going to do is we're going to snap the little excesses of those plastic pieces off the profile. Okay, now we're going to apply the double-sided tape to the front. It doesn't have to be neat, it doesn't have to be straight, it's just got to be on there. Now there's 2 ways that you can do this. We can either pull the fabric over like such and press it down onto the base rail, or we can hold the base rail up and push down, like so. And then that will help it stick. Brush down to make sure there's no air bubbles in there. And that's what you're looking at the moment, so it's folded back over. Okay, very simple, very easy. Okay, now working on the back of our blind, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to apply the double-sided tape to the back, but this is very important. I'll do a close-up of this to show you what I'm doing. But we need to put that on the back and under the lip of the top of that cutout in there. Now, as you can see here, if I do this, I can push my finger down. Now you see, there is no tape on this top channel, none. It just sits into that little fold there, pushes down with your finger, and the rest of it applied to the bottom. That's very important that you do it like that. Now peel this back. Okay, now this time we're going to pull it up and around and stick it. Now you'll see why we didn't have the tape to that top part now. What we're going to do is introduce our very handy button off. Where that channel is, we're going to push the fabric into the channel. See, nice and easy, just like that. This does 2 things. It puts it into the channel, but it also helps to stretch the fabric around just a little bit more. You can almost see the fabric moving. I'm sliding that in. Now I'm going to push that up against there, the opposing edge. So this is basically how your fabric should look now into the thing. Now, that's still not finished. The next step, as you can see here, there's another little lower ledge. We're going to push that fabric back, push the knife back into there, and we're going to run that across the slot. So that fabric has now been pushed back into that channel. The reason for that is we need to now apply our silencio strip. Now, our silencio goes into the back of the slot. It does two things. It actually helps to retain the fabric in the slot, but it also acts as a bump stop so you don't get that horrible echoey sound on the base rail. Now what we're going to do now is we're going to cut. I'll show you what I'm doing. In here, if I try to put that in now, it's going to catch the fabric and it's going to be very, very hard to put in. So what we do is we cut almost like an arrowhead. I hope you can see that clearly. And what that will do is that will allow you to then slide that in without interfering with the fabric. If necessary, if it's thick fabric, pull it through with a pair of pliers. And it just takes a box cutter or a very sharp knife to cut it level with the end of the base rail. And the final step, place our end caps. Use anything at your disposal to tap it in. And there you have your wrapped base rail, the finished product. It doesn't take very long once you've got the hang of it. And of course at the back, you have your silencio sitting at the back there, which stops that annoying clanging that you get with that. Nice and dull. Hi, and welcome to part 2 of our no-sew base rail tutorial. In this video, we're going to teach you how to do the no-sew base rail exposed version. For the previous video in the wrapped base rail, we're using the same piece of fabric. It's a textured fabric with a block-out backing, again, very thick. Okay, now part 1, have your fabric ready. What we're going to do is we're going to mark up from the bottom of the fabric 28 millimetres. Or in the old school, 1 1/4 inches. Once again, we draw our line, you can see there. Now what we're going to do here, we're going to fold on our line. An easy way to do that if you wanted to is our trusty butter knife, once again. Score a line. This is, of course, if you haven't got automatic machinery. And that'll give you somewhere to fold, so that's a nice folded line on there. Okay, then we introduce our plastic profile. And unlike the wrap base rail, we're face down here, so we're going to be face down with our base rail. So we want to have this groove showing upwards. Okay, once again with our trusty applicator. Now I'm assuming that you've watched the wrapped base rail, so a lot of the things that I'm doing now are basically exactly the same, just except I've got the base rail upside down and the fabric facing the other way. Now once again with our double-sided tape. Now, I'll show you what I'm doing here. As opposed to the wrapped base rail, we're now going to the opposite side of that open channel. So you can see we've done the short leg there. And again, it's not touching, the actual tape is not touching this larger part here. You keep that completely free of double-sided tape. And again, with our knife, fold this back onto itself so that it sticks to the base rail. And then with our knife, we poke that into the channel. As you can see, that is now into the base. Now we have to do the reverse and push back now into this groove. To allow for our silencio strip. Now with our silencio strip, we need to poke it in this way, but again, we're going to catch our fabric with this side. So we want to cut that little angle, which makes it a little bit easier. You can see that there. Slide that in, effectively locking the fabric into the channel. Your box cutter, nice and sharp. Apply our end caps. And there we are. Again, that's simple and looks fantastic. And again, we have our silencio strip locked into the back, which stops that clanging and banging noise onto your window architraves of the hollow base rail. And that's it. Well, I hope you found this tutorial on our base rails informative. While you're here, why not jump over to our website and view our other tutorials on the other SPP products. I'll see you there.